Good evening. This is Shindo. This article that I'm about to read is to illustrate what I said a few nights ago in the interview that I had with Psycho Sorcerer, that it's not just the Christians that are seeing that this is some kind of, quote, end times, unquote. It's also the Muslims, the radical Muslims. This is from the Washington Post. ISIS calls for holy war, find an echo in pro-Trump movement. So, in other words, ISIS is looking for some Christians to actually fight them, and it looks like they found it. And trust me, folks, if you have any dealings, and I'm sure all of you have, with these young pro-Trump types, they're all for the idea of going and fighting a new crusade against the Muslims. Okay, to the article from the Washington Post. I will put a link to this article in the description box. If you like what I do, please share, comment, like, and share my videos, or subscribe as well. The jihadist ideologues of the Islamic State believe in a profound clash of civilizations. The extremist organization propaganda recalls an old prophecy that the armies of Islam will fight the forces of, quote, Rome on the field of Dabiq, a town in northern Syria. The victory there will prefigure the would-be caliphate's conquest of the West, or whatever contemporary stand-in for, quote, Rome you see fit. A lead to the end of history as we know it. The caliphate is basically, the new caliphate is their Messiah. For that reason, the group has named its main magazine Dabiq. It calls its enemies, be they rival Syrian factions or Western powers, agents of Rome or infidel crusaders. And for a time, it seemed that the Islamic State was even trying to goad the West into a confrontation near Dabiq. The militants chose to execute an American aid worker, Peter Kassig, in the town in 2014. Quote, "Here we are, burying the first American crusader in Dabiq, eagerly waiting for the remainder of your armies to arrive," unquote. Kassig, executioner, said in a video that was released later. Even after Turkish-backed militias drove the Islamic State out of Dabiq earlier this year, there's evidence that the militant group is still playing the long game and clinging to the prophecy, according to experts who track the group's online propaganda. And perhaps the Islamic State, also known as ISIS, may have cause for excitement during a Donald Trump presidency. Both Trump and those in the seething online churn of the, quote, alt-right, unquote, a catch-all term for a coterie of neo-fascist, white supremacist, ethno-populist, anti-feminist, and other far-right extremists who cheered Trump's electoral victory on November 8th, also embrace a clash of civilizations. Now this, folks, this goes right along with the video I did just either it was yesterday or the day before, I don't remember, about this Kek cult, K-E-K cult. And whether or not you believe that that's a joke, these people are for real. They are serious. This is the new sort of white supremacist type neo-fascist type of people, and they're proud to be it. The president-elect signaled as much in a major foreign policy speech in April when he rejected the idea of, quote, universal values, unquote, and triumphed the promotion of Western civilization. Now, folks, before I go on, if you've never seen any video that I've done, I am hardly a left-wing liberal. These people, though, these what they're calling alt-right, which I think is it's a rather vague term, but these people that are these new young crusaders, they're a dangerous group of people, and they are a major part of the constituency that put Trump in, and they're the ones who are going to push him into war. They're the type of folks who sit in front of their keyboard all day long. I don't know what the heck they do for a job. They probably do something online. But they have no life outside of the internet. Stephen K. Bannon, the alt-right ideologue, who is poised to play a key role in Trump's White House, has articulated a more coherent vision. In a 2014 event with Catholic conservatives hosted at the Vatican, Bannon declared the West was in the beginning stages of a global war against Islamic fascism, quote unquote, and framed the context in religious terms. Never mind that Muslims themselves are suffering the most from and laboring the hardest against extremist groups like the Islamic State. Bannon placed the current fight in a long history of Christian versus Muslim conflict and praised the toughness of earlier European kingdoms. Of course, he did not acknowledge the equally long history of Christian and Muslim cooperation. Quote, if you look back at the long history of Judeo-Christian West struggle against Islam, I believe that our forefathers kept their stance, and I think they did the right thing, unquote, he said, and then invoked two famous medieval battles in which largely Christian forces in Europe repulsed Muslim armies. Quote, I think they kept it out of the world, whether it was at Vienna or Tours or other places. It bequeathed to us the great institution that is the Church of the West, unquote. Now keep this in mind, folks. He's saying this at the Vatican. This is exactly what I have been talking about. It is a new religious war. If you don't think that they perceive it that way, not only ISIS, but those in what they're calling the alt-right, you need to look again. Y'all, you think I'm exaggerating about this stuff. You thought I've been exaggerating about this stuff for years, and yet I hope that people are starting to open their eyes up to what's going on. Animated by these ideas, a whole realm of alt-right Trump supporters have imported the iconography of the Crusades and other medieval warfare into their memes and messaging. They quote the famous speech supposedly made by Pope Urban II in 1095, in which he called for the First Crusade to reclaim the, quote, Holy Land from Muslim rule. Quote, when an armed attack is made upon the enemy, this one cry be raised by all the soldiers of God. It is the will of God. It is the will of God, the medieval pontiff is believed to have said. Deus vult, or God wills it, or it is the will of God, has become a kind of far-right code word, a hashtag proliferated around the alt-right social media and graffiti scrawled in public institutions. Just consider this sampling of tweets before and after Election Day. I'm not gonna read these tweets, but I will have a a link to this article so you can read them for yourself. Whatever his own beliefs, Trump will arrive in the White House with the backing of a myriad of people crying out for a holy war. This is serious stuff, okay? I don't know how bad it would have been if Hillary Clinton would have won. I was never able to wrap my brain around the idea of Hillary Clinton winning because I just didn't see it. And of course it didn't happen. So there's no telling what would have happened. Okay, we can argue about that all day long. There's no way of knowing what would have happened if Clinton had won. But I knew what would happen if Trump won. I knew what we're in for. Folks, if you want a holy war, we're about to see one. We're about to see one. ISIS wants nothing more than that. In this, yes, I hate to say it. I hate to say it because as far as foreign policy is concerned, domestic policy pretty much too, I am pretty much on the other side of anything that Obama said or did. But he has warned of this. Obama warned that what ISIS wants, what these people want, is a holy war. Once we start instigating this war with these people, you think we're just going to be dealing with a couple of thousand people over there in the Middle East? Do you think that when Trump, he says he's going to do it anyway, do you think when Trump moves the consulate from into Jerusalem and declares Jerusalem the capital of Israel, do you think people are over there in the Middle East, the Muslims, are going to be terribly happy about that? How about the idea that the Sanhedrin are asking Trump and Putin to rebuild the third temple? Do you think the Muslims are going to be crazy about that? Folks, we're in for some major warfare if he does the things that he says he's going to do. Major warfare. And I'm 47 years old. I'm not worried about going to war. I'm not going to go over there. But you who are under the age of 25, under the age of 30, you should be. You should be. And if you voted in Trump, and you thought to yourself, you know what, he's better than Clinton, we'll never know. But for one thing's for sure, what you voted in for is an oncoming religious war. The people that really were his base, the people that were with him from the get-go, these are this alt-right people. And he's putting them in his cabinet, by the way. Folks, these are scary times. And I hate to tell you I told you so, but I told you so. This is Shindo. Have a good evening.